So you come across a product to sell on Amazon, but you find that there's two or three or sometimes even more listings of what appear to be the same product. So in this video, what I'm going to share with you, I'm going to break down how you decide which listing to jump on when there's multiple. And so I have a real life example in front of me. I'm going to blur out the ASIN and stuff, but I am currently selling a product successfully that has two different listings for the same exact product. So, in general, Amazon is kind of still in some ways the wild, wild west. And these things just happen. I couldn't tell you why they happen, but they do. It's absolutely undeniable. I see it all the time. Now, here's something that you want to keep in mind. When you do come across a product that has multiple listings, first things first, we can eliminate some of them if they don't make financial sense, right? It's irrelevant to even consider one of them if the numbers don't make sense. Okay. So, first thing you're going to do is crunch your numbers. But beyond that, the next thing you're going to want to do if you have multiple that both make sense, you want to make sure they're legitimate listings. And what I mean by that, take a look at the brand of the category, right? If just making something up, if the brand is Heinz, like I'm just thinking of Heinz ketchup off the top of my head, you don't want it to say Jonathan's Kitchen, and somebody that just clearly made up a brand or has a quote unquote bootleg item. It's not that you can't get sales with that, but it's just the type of thing. My general rule of thumb is play by the rules. This is such a great opportunity. Do things the right way. If a listing seems fishy, it's just simply not worth it, at least in my opinion. So that's the first thing. Another thing, if one listing or multiple listings seems too good to be true, like you're finding a product and you can buy it from any major store at retail price and you would make 200% return on investment, that to me is a red flag. And not that it's impossible that that happens, but what I would do for one or multiple of the listings that this draws your attention, look at the product in Amazon.com. So view it as if you were a customer. And sometimes you can catch things there that you don't normally catch as if you were just a seller, whether it be using Scoutify or the Amazon seller app or however you source. And sometimes there in the details, you can see a fine print of this is a 2-pack or this is a 3-pack. And then that itself can eliminate there being multiple options for you. Okay. But so that stuff out of the way. So you want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. They're legitimate, right? So let's just say they are, because that's very common. So now how do you decide which ones that you hop on? Okay. And so for me, what I do is first things first, especially if this is my first time selling this product, I'll go into Keepa. And so, like I said, I have an example in front of me. It's two different Keepa charts, two different listings, same exact product. I have sold both of them. I continue to sell both of them. Let me share with you my mindset on this, okay? So here's product A, all right? And we're looking at 3-month snapshots, so it's apples to apples. Okay, so just let's go down the list here. At the top, we have number of reviews, 1,047, 4.8 stars. And then here's a 3-month snapshot. Yes, Amazon's on the listing currently, but I'm kind of looking first off on the visual cues, okay? The sales rank chart line, the green line. The more ups and downs, the more aggressively it's going up and down, the more it's selling. That's my interpretation. This isn't going up and down like crazy, but it definitely is selling. It also has had a buy box prior to Amazon pretty consistently around, let's see, $50 to $54. Even without the buy box, it was selling at 55, 55. So for the better part of the last couple months, it has sold between, let's say, $50 and $60. Okay. So let's call it 55 bucks. So I like that. The number of sellers down here hasn't been anything that's like concern worthy. At the low point, it looks like there was 4, at the high point, 13, current day around 12, nothing drastic. Okay. So to me, my interpretation at this point is it has a lot of reviews. So it's sold for a while. It sells for around $55. Doesn't look like a crazy good seller, but definitely selling. The amount of sellers has been pretty consistent. I also like this review count line. So over here, 3 months ago, there was 1,025. Now there's 1,047. That's an increase of 22. That tells me this is definitely selling quite a bit. In order for them to get 22 reviews, there's no variations on this listing. That would be up here where my cursor is next to the data button. So all in all, this is a good listing. Okay. Also, I like to look down here. This has been around for 2,088 days here in the bottom right-hand corner. We're not going to get into that today, but you can span out further if you wanted more information. Now, something else that I do to try to gauge how often this is selling, and again, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to compare it side by side to the other listing to see if I should only list on one or the other or both, and then how I should divide the inventory I have. So going to data, and then I really like this column here towards the left. On the top, you'll see it says stock and then sold. So this seller has 1 in stock, they've sold 45. This one has 2 in stock, they don't know how many they've sold. This one has 12 in stock, they've sold about 34. And so forth and down the list. And down here at the bottom, there's a total showing what the stock total is and the total sales. Okay. So 145, I think that says. All right. So I have a pretty good picture. This is definitely selling. Okay. I also, by the way, looked into Seller Amp, and it says it's selling 17 times a month. I think it's selling more than that based on all these context clues here. But again, I know it's selling. I'm more concerned with which one do I hop on, right? Okay. So what we're going to do now is look at the other one. So this one's a little interesting because it doesn't have a sales rank, which I always really like because that typically means less sellers competing just straight because of people filter out things and things without sales rank fall through the cracks. So to the eye test, again, last 3 months, it sold for, looks like it's selling for 45 now. And at the high point, 65. So yeah, very similar range. Okay. At the top here, 427 reviews. So about more than half, less than half of the previous one. So the other one has sold more over the lifespan of it. And speaking of that, in the bottom right hand corner, this one's been around for 1,156 days. The other one, again, around 2,000. Number of sellers here, 5 at the low point. Current time, there's 17. Not so drastically different than the other one. Number of reviews went from 393 to 427. So that's our good first indicator. This one has gotten, I think, 34 reviews in the last 2 months, more than the other one. Okay. So that's telling me this is also selling more than the other one. All right. Now let's also look at the data tab. And here we can also look at the amount sold and the amount of stock. And all the way down, you can see here, this one has sold 839 times. The last one, the same period of time, was like 145. So that is another huge indicator to me. I did look this up on Seller Amp to see, and it didn't have an estimate on how often it's selling. Okay. So now let's take a second to step away. All right. We have 2 items. We've made sure they are the exact same product. We've made sure that the brands on them are legitimate, or the listings are legitimate. They're both listings that have been around for over 1,000 days. Okay. They're both selling at a similar price point. They have similar number of sellers. To me, these are both winners. If either of these didn't make sense, I would eliminate one and just sell on the other because they're both good ones to me. But they both make sense to me. And so the reason I'm going to list on both of them instead of one, and I'll go over how I'm going to break that down, is because they're both going to sell. So why not diversify, right? If there's no major concerns, no major red flags, let's diversify and let's test the waters. So hypothetically, looking at everything I have here, let's just say I bought 20 of them. Okay. I think I would probably do something like 14 to the one that was more favorable, the one that we looked at just more recently, and maybe 6 to the other one. And this way I'll see what happens. Which ones sell quicker? Do either of these have price tankers? Do either of these have a certain number of sellers that hop on the listing, dropping the price and creating more competition, slower sales, etc., right? In my head, I really like the more recent one. No sales rank typically is always a little bit of a moat for your product. Anytime it's an atypical listing, no sales rank or something else is missing. By the way, both of these don't have variations. I only mentioned that on the first one. So we really are apples to apples. And so that's really the gist of it. Then I send it in. I watch what happens. I keep close attention to that. If they both continue to sell, then I'll continue to send in that same amount of ratio. If one of them is overpowering the other one, I'll probably continue to go more heavily that way. But as long as I'm getting sales in both, I'll send into both. I've basically done the work for one product and I get the benefits of two listings. Okay. And that is just part of Amazon. But when you come across that, you need to do your due diligence and just know at any given time, this has happened to me, Amazon will remove certain listings. So it's again another way to diversify that if for some reason this listing was eliminated, well, I've got the other one and vice versa. Okay. So that's how I break it down. I pretty much take it to Keepa and then I just test the waters if they make sense. And if for some reason they don't make sense, whether it be price wise or something's fishy, then I only worry about the one to begin with. And by the way, something else that's very common, same kind of principle I use if there's an opportunity for a 1 pack, a 2 pack, or 3 pack. I go through the charts. Which one makes more sense? Which one's more profitable? Which one sells more? Oh, they all make sense? I'll send in a 3 pack. I'll send in a 2 pack. I'll send in a 1 pack, etc. So you can apply the same principles to multi-pack choosing as well. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm Jonathan. Duke Does Amazon. Questions, comments, topics, let me know. Have a great day. We're on Instagram and Spotify as well. Duke Does Amazon, Duke Does Amazon podcast. Also, check out some of the links below for some discounts and things of that nature. Talk to you guys soon.